My initial reaction was like, where did this come from? Because we've heard the names of Giannis, John Morant, so many superstars, but not James Harden. He's still under contract. He's not extension eligible. So what is this about? And the thing that was really telling was like his teammates were surprised by this. They talked to John Collins afterwards. They talked to Kawhi. They're like, I don't know. I thought he was good. The Clippers are turning their season around. So, like, why would he ask for a trade now? So, very bizarre. I think we kind of got tipped to this because he's been ruled out for personal reasons the last couple of games. He did have a jersey retirement ceremony, I believe, at Arizona State. So, who knows what's going on right now? But clearly, something's not right in L.A.
It does feel very bizarre and pretty out of nowhere, but what we have learned is that James Harden wants commitment, right? He wants more money. He wants longer term. He does have a no-trade clause. So would it make sense for the Cavs to make this move, understanding that James Harden probably isn't down for a trade anywhere that's not willing to sign him longer term? Yeah,
and I think that's where this all kind of stems from. It's like, James Harden really wants to get paid. He's always wanted to get paid. This is usually how he gets his exit. Like, he called Daryl Morey a liar because he didn't pay him. So he can't make more money now. So maybe this is one of those deals that's kind of been in the works behind the scenes that we don't really know about that could be coming to the forefront. Cleveland just made a move to clear some cap space with trading DeAndre Hunter. So if James Harden potentially gets a little handshake deal, like, hey, we might throw you some dollars after this, maybe that's why he's pushing to go to Cleveland. And let's not act like Darius Garland's been super reliable, right? He hasn't played much. And I think if you get James Harden alongside Donovan Mitchell, a guy that's been having to handle so much more playmaking without Darius Garland, this could actually raise the floor for the Cleveland Cavaliers, something that we haven't said in a while.
I'm going to be honest with you. I hate this. I just look, I've been trying to be all polite and professional. I hate this so much for Cleveland. I think this is a terrible move for the Cavs. And I'll tell you why. Because to me, I agree. The Cavs are going nowhere right now. They're stuck. They're the 5 seed as we sit right now. Garland, to your point, not only hasn't been healthy, but when he has been healthy, he hasn't played at the level I think everybody wanted. Like, I see all of that. And I see the logic to wanting to make a move. But let's look at what I'm acquiring. I'm acquiring an old guy that absolutely chokes in the biggest basketball moments possible. I'm acquiring an old guy that I don't want on the court in Game 7. I'm acquiring an old guy for a second, maybe for a couple of years, that might make me good enough to get one more round into this thing, but he ain't going to make me better than OKC. He ain't going to make me better than San Antonio. He ain't going to make me Denver. So what I'm doing is I'm probably, in order to get him, committing long-term money to somebody that's older and dirt in the NBA that has shown us over and over again that the bigger the moment is, the more he forgets how to basketball, and he's not going to get me to a title. So I get my feels and I get my little hug of like, oh, congratulations, you're going to be more relevant the rest of the season for nothing. I don't get any closer to an actual Larry O.B., and that should be the point of this. I'd rather see Cleveland blow this whole thing up, start a rebuild, than acquire Harden, because Harden ain't going to do a damn thing for where they're trying to get to. It's just, congratulations, you got the 3 seed in the East instead of the 5. Let's all throw a parade for that, Cleveland. I'm out.
Fitz is not having this today.
I'm out.
Clearly
out
not.
On this.
I mean,
Tell me where I'm wrong. Tell me where I'm wrong.
I hear you on the playoff Harden. That argument is totally solid. But if we're talking about raising the floor, Darius Garland is not as good of a defender, even at his age, than Harden is at 36. This is about this team having a proven point guard who will play games. The one thing we can't say about James Harden is that hasn't been reliable. This dude's been playing every game for the Clippers. He's been holding it down for Los Angeles, more than Kawhi Leonard. He's finally figured out how to play this year. But what about all the years previous to that? So I just feel like at this point, Cleveland has to shake things up. You said it yourself. Now, does that take you to championship heights? Maybe not. But I think it's a good floor setter for a team that's been, hey, you're trying to keep Donovan Mitchell there long term, right? You have Evan Mobley. He's coming off of the calf injury. Maybe this is something that can elevate them to even making a championship, right? You get James Harden in the Eastern Conference, the landscape changes. And that's what I think that they're trying to do. And maybe for James Harden, he sees a path to a championship more likely than he would be staying in with the Clippers right now, because they have a gauntlet to go through to get anywhere close to that. So I think it actually makes a pretty good trade. And you got to look at the Clippers side of this. They're trying to get younger. They're trying to get off money. So it's kind of interesting that they would take on a Darius Garland contract that goes through 2028, but you have some youth there, which, what other players are under 30-something on the Clippers that actually matter? So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out.
The way that we have been talking about it on air and off air has been so much through the lens of the Clippers. So much of the lens of what does Harden want? What makes sense for James Harden? The way that Shams was reporting it on SportsCenter last night was through the James Harden perspective of things. Is there a world where this is far more about Donovan Mitchell and the Cavs than it is about James Harden and the Clippers/Cavs?
Seems like Donovan Mitchell's quietly applying pressure because, like, I've been wondering about this Garland-Mitchell, tandem for a while, and it just hasn't worked out. Like, they flamed out last year. You're talking about flame. That was a flame out.
Yeah.
This is one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference and just completely disappeared when it mattered most. And I think when you get James Harden there, maybe that kind of changes the narrative just a bit because you have a veteran in there that's proven that can play. He does show up. So that's the thing about Harden. I feel like the narrative around him in the playoffs is kind of misconstrued a bit. Because, like, he'll win a couple of games for you. Sure. He just needs somebody else to go do the other ones.
As long as it's not a Game 7, he'll win.
As long as it's not a Game 7. But that's why you have Donovan Mitchell there.
That's fair. You win it in 6. You don't even have to worry about
there
getting
you go.
There we go. No, I hear that. So now, again, I feel like I drank my haterade this morning, and I didn't. It was iced coffee. Caroline was with me. There's an element for me where I get that you want to listen to your stars.
Yeah.
But, man, we watched that in L.A. with LeBron and how'd that work out. I know he got the title in the bubble, but, like, overall, how do we view that? We're watching the Bucks melt down in front of our eyes. I know people in that organization. I've talked to people in that organization, and they will tell me repeatedly that every step of the way they have said, Giannis, what do you want? Giannis, what does make you happy? How do we keep that? And where'd we get? Like, the more they listened to Giannis, the worse things got for the Bucks. So I hear that, but also, like, man, I don't know if that works. Like, I don't know if that works in the grand scheme of things. So I feel like that's why I just feel like all you're doing is moving the decks around the Titanic. You're still sinking, but you're like, hey, the string quartet's playing over here right now. We're going to live a lot longer, but you're still going to end up in the water frozen where there's clearly room for two people on the little door, and you don't get let up on it. I'm just saying. Go ahead. I'm off my soapbox now. I'm anti this move.
It is a lovely soapbox.
Thank you.
1000% it is. Well, I mean, Fitz is up on his soapbox. I see a vein popping out.
He's mad.
He's
He
mad about
doesn't want to see
this.
this happen.
It's a little warm in the studio.
We had a nice little glisten of sweat getting all worked up over here. But we're talking so much about this. This has just come to fruition over the last 12 hours and some change. What's the likelihood that anything actually comes from this?
I'm reading the tea leaves here. When Chris Haynes reports about something, there's certain players, like, I'm paying attention. And the fact that it first came from Chris Manson, then Chris Haynes is saying that, hey, this is going to be done in a matter of days. Like, we only have a couple days left, so I expect something to be done probably by tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get something breaking news this soon because, like, clearly there's something wrong. They're aggressively talking to Cleveland. Who knows what other teams may even be aligned here. But I think it's to the first thing we talked about. James Harden wants his money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so if there's a handshake deal where he can get paid after this season, I think that this is pretty much a foregone conclusion. He's going to be going to Cleveland.
So what does all of this mean? Two ways of this. What does it all mean for Giannis? And that could include Cleveland, but it could also include, like, I keep hearing through the rumor mill, Minnesota's interested. Mm-hmm. So if you're Minnesota and you're watching Cleveland go out and acquire Harden, now you're saying, okay, everybody else is being aggressive. Like, if Harden ends up a Cleveland Cavalier, does that change the way the market views the urgency of Giannis?
I think to some degree, yes. Maybe it provides more competition, obviously, for the Eastern Conference. But I think where the Bucks are, they're still in aggregate assets mode. Like, we need the biggest package possible. And what I was reading this morning, it didn't sound like the Bucks are coming away overly impressed by the offers that have come in. We talked about the Warriors yesterday. If that's the best offer on the table, I think that they could still wait this out to the summer and potentially see some more action and activity around the 2026 draft, which now we know is going to be elite. A lot of great talent there. So who knows what could happen when teams get really desperate in the summer. Giannis is healthy, and they can really get a firm package for that. Because where the Bucks are right now, they're just – I don't think anything they can do is really going to force a trade in the Eastern Conference right now. But I think this is going to shake up the landscape, though. So I think this is what we need. We need a trade like this. Get Harden into the Eastern Conference. Let's get crazy the last couple of days of the trade deadline.
Do you think, two-parter, do you think that James Harden makes the Cavs a contender in the East? And do you think that Giannis makes any team in the West better than the Nuggets, better than OKC, better than San Antonio?
Cleveland would definitely be a contender, but, like, it's so hard, like, because they're
Is that because of the East, or is that because of
I think it's
Cleveland?
because of the East. I don't think it's necessarily because with the Cavs without Mobley, we got to see what that's about. You know, calf injuries have been, you know, the worst part of basketball. It seems like, you know, you just never know how to treat those injuries. So hopefully he's good. If he is, you know, this is going to be a really competitive team. And who knows, they could still move Jared Allen. They have pieces to maneuver now that they've moved off of DeAndre Hunter. So who knows, Cleveland may not even be done after that, which is really interesting. But at the same time, I'm not going to anoint them over Detroit, Boston, the Sixers, New York. Harden raises the floor, but I don't know that we're saying that they're just automatically going to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
So, point blank, do you think that this trade happens?
I think this trade happens.
All right.
Yes.
And then what's that mean for the
Here for
Clippers?
it.
What's that? Like, the Clippers are hot right now.
They are. They're very hot. So that's why, like, why are you asking for a trade, James? I think that's just going to be a tell that they're probably going to be selling some assets in addition to that, or looking ahead to just shaving cap, because right now their cap situation isn't great. They're trying to clear the decks for 27, 28, and that's when a lot of free agents are going to become available. So I think that's when you're going to see Kawhi get off the books. You're already going to get rid of Harden. You have a young point guard in Harden-Garland potentially. It could be a nice time to rebuild. And let's not forget, Ivica Zubac has been also fielding offers in the trade market. Boston has looked around for him, so they could just be tearing it down. The wrong side. You're talking about Cleveland tearing it down, but it could be the Clippers actually tearing it down.